Good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is John. This is Soft Flow. It's our new class offering on Saturday mornings. And this is just an hour-long soft flow class. We need props, and I'll usually use props for this class just about every class. So a blanket, bolster. We're going to use a strap today and a couple of blocks. So we'll have our for our practice today. So just a little bit about what I do in this class. I used to teach this class some years ago back at 21st Yoga, and I also started teaching it online. So I still teach it online, but I teach it from home. I record it and just have it online. But I thought, let's bring this class back to a live class. So the intention around this class is really taking my power class, because I teach power classes usually, mostly, and really just slowing it down, breaking it down. So we'll move slowly. I guide you through each pose. We probably only go through one, maybe 1.5 sun salutes. There's not a lot of movement, mostly holding of some postures, and again, breaking down of some postures. In each class, it'll usually start the same each week, but I'll have a featured pose, or a featured movement, a type of movement for each of our classes. And the idea behind, why are we moving slowly? Why am I breaking it down? My thought is taking on the concept and idea from Ahimsa, which is the first ethical principle of yoga, Ahimsa. Ahimsa, which means nonviolence. Nonviolence, first yoga principle. And I like to take that inward and redirect it and redefine it as treating yourself with love, kindness, and gentleness. Treating yourself with love, gentleness, and kindness. So that's why we move slowly, we take our time, we support ourselves using the props. One, so that we can, not harm ourselves, take care of ourselves. Come on in. And I also see that if we treat ourselves that way, it becomes an outward extension. We treat others and other things in the same way. So we support ourselves using the props. We move slowly. We take our time, and really so that you can really, I think, fully benefit from the poses, since we're breaking them down a little bit. Fully benefit from the pose. Another idea I kind of integrate into this is, because we're maybe holding some postures, feel free to not going fully into a pose. I mean, if you're pretty flexible and you can do a seated forward fold and come all the way down, as an example, I might suggest maybe dialing that back a little bit. Instead of working at 100% into your pose, even if you can, let's dial it back maybe to anywhere between 60 and 70%. So just dialing it back so that you can perhaps hold the posture longer, so your body doesn't react to being in a pose, but more or less responds to being in a pose. Like, oh, this feels good. I can hold here, I can be here, and it feels good. Rather than, oh gosh, how much longer am I going to be in this pose? And your body starts to react, okay, and get stressed out. We're going to try to reduce that by dialing it back. So that's kind of the idea that I integrate into soft flow. Alrighty. Any questions before we start? Okay. Alrighty. So we do start in seated. I sit in half lotus. This is just comfortable for me. You can sit just easy pose. You can have a leg extended. If you need a little extra support for this first part, either sit on a prop or even up against a wall if you want to. Okay. And then you just make your way back over onto your mat. But otherwise, we'll start in seated. It's just sitting up nice and tall. You can close your eyes if you'd like, or just soften your eyes. Just take an easy, soft gaze forward. We'll just start with breath, a little breathing exercise, just to get into our bodies and to fully arrive in the space. So you're welcome to perhaps start with a deep breath, a nice full inhale where you feel the expansion of your lungs, and exhale through your mouth. Maybe one more time if you'd like. A nice full breath in and release. Just stay in that softness. Let's see if we can just maintain that throughout the entire practice. This ease of body and mind. So just continue with slow, steady breaths here. Breathing with intention. Breathing on purpose. As you're able, just beginning to notice how your body is responding to your breath. That might be the simple rise and fall of your chest or belly. Even your shoulders might rise up and down a little bit. And then notice the sound of your breath. Although it might be a bit quiet, that's okay. But see if you can hear your own breath. These are just ways to bring you to this moment, to be centered, connected, grounded. Let's add one more sensation here. On your next inhale, just feel your breath rising upward to fill your lungs. So a nice expansive inhale. And with the exhale, as you're able, draw your belly button in towards your spine. Just a light pull, just awareness of your center. It doesn't have to be too strong, just an awareness of your belly. Again, breathing in, feeling breath rise to fill your lungs. And the exhale, that gentle pull from your center, just a light engagement of what we call the abdominal lock. It's a nice way to help support your body, especially sitting up tall as we are now. Just take 3 more breaths here. We're going to add a very simple movement. I just call it our moving meditation. So moving with breath. When you're ready, inhale and just extend your arms out across the room, then all the way up towards the ceiling. Nice big stretch. And on the exhale, extend the arms out and back down by your side. So a very simple flow of the body, moving with breath. Starting again, inhale with some effort, reaching out as if you're going to touch the walls and then the ceiling. Good reach, good. Exhale, extending the arms out and back down. Now go ahead and continue to breathe and move at your own pace. You don't have to follow me. Just follow your own breath, your own movement. And as you're moving in slow motion, just the awareness of sensation in your body. Notice what this feels like in your shoulders, your arms, down through the sides of your body. Maybe a nice energy in your hands and fingers as you reach up and then out across the room. Good. You can always rest if you need to, and then continue with a few more movements and breath. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. From here, we're going to do a mild back bend. Just going to bring your hands behind you. You might even just prop yourself up onto your fingertips. As you bring the arms back, also feel the shoulders kind of draw back a little bit. And then gently tip your chin up just slightly here. That just helps to open up across the chest. So we're going to inhale and just press into the floor with your fingers. You might feel an energy shoot up the arms. Breathe in, fill your lungs. And exhale. Feel the belly button draw in towards spine. Again, breathing in, feel the energy in your hands, arms, and shoulders. Fill your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. And we're adding a little bit more sensation in the body. So notice what this feels like as we create this gentle seated back bend. And just take 2 more breaths. And after the second breath, just lower your chin so you're looking forward. You can walk your hands to yourself, rising up so you're nice and tall in the spine. Maybe bring the hands around to the front, just resting on your legs. So we did a back bend, so we'll do a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed here, we're just going to uncross the legs and come to cobbler's pose or bound angle, just the soles of the feet together here. You can choose kind of the distance here. You can bring the heels in, kind of close, but if that doesn't feel good on the knees, then just slide the feet forward. So there's not so much binding in the knees. And if that's the case, maybe just holding onto your shins, wherever you can reach. Okay, so we're going to inhale and feel tall. Feel like there's a string attached to the crown of your head, rising up. Exhale, lead forward with your heart and your chin, just a little bit, not much. So you can maintain a nicely extended spine. You might even change where your hands are. We're going to inhale, keep extending through the spine at this new angle. Exhale, hinging at the hips, leading with the heart and chin, just a little bit more. Now remember, we're working between that 60 to 70% in a pose. You probably can go further and deeper, and you're certainly welcome to do so. But just being mindful of being a little bit more mindful of moving slowly and gently. Oops. You can even lower your chin, round your back, go a little deeper, but still working in that 60 to 70% mark rather than going to that full 100%. And even if you feel like you went a little too deep, just soften the pose, rise up a little bit. The idea that you could hold this pose a little longer than usual, and your body doesn't feel like it's going to react. Seeing if we could just maintain that sense of ease and calm in our bodies and our minds throughout the practice, but still benefiting from the pose. So you still want to feel a nice stretch in the inner legs. And if your back is rounded, a nice curvature in the spine, that stretch through the back body. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. If your back is rounded, this is how we'll come out of the pose. Just lifting the chin a little bit to help re-extend the spine. You might just look out past the front edge of your mat. And then start to hinge your way back up until you're nice and tall. Right here. And I like to come to a boat pose here. So we're going to extend the legs, but not fully extend. Just bring the heels to the floor out in front. Flexing the feet just to activate the feet, bent knees, and just hold on to what I call your handlebars right here. I'm just going to inhale just to extend the spine, sit up nice and tall. Even imagine you're sitting up against a wall initially. On the exhale, maybe breathe through the mouth. Feel the core engagement like you did earlier in our breathing practice, and start to lean back just a little bit. Pause. Inhale, get longer in the spine, fill up your lungs. Exhale through the mouth. Engage your core. Either stay here or maybe lean back a little bit more. We are going to keep the heels on the ground because I think this does allow us to stay in boat a little longer rather than doing, the regular boat where we lift the feet. Now you can maintain a hold of the legs or even free the hands. That might just bring a little bit more of a dynamic, or even leaning back. Keep in your 60 to 70% range. If you feel like you're straining, back it up. Release, let go, even come out of the pose completely, this one or any one that we might practice. Okay? And then gently ease yourself back into it. So a pose like this, yes, we're just building a little bit more core strength, energy, endurance. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then just rising back up to release the pose. Feel that transition from that active body to a little bit more of a relaxed body. And then we'll come to hands and knees. Just carefully maneuver yourself to hands and knees. Feel free to use a blanket underneath you for some padding if you'd like. There's an option here. Knees at one end, hands at the other end. So we're just opening up the blanket. And so here, cat and cow. So an inhale, just to tip the chin up or look forward. We arch the back, little tip of the pelvis back, so we create that back bend, yes. Exhale, let's tuck the pelvis under. Feel the belly button pull up towards spine, rounded back, chin to chest, yes. And just continue. Inhale, start with the back end if you can. Tip the pelvis back. That'll allow the belly to drop. There's the back bend, heart forward, look forward. And exhale. Tuck it all under, rounded spine. And just continue at your own breath pace. The inhale is the back bend, it's cow pose. The exhale is the rounded spine, cat pose. So feeling this nice undulation through the spine, movement through the pelvis. Now, you're not restricted to just this movement. If it feels good for you to add other movements, maybe a little movement of your hips. If your wrists get a little tired, maybe sit back into child's pose or sit back to get off of your hands. A class like this, Soft Flow, also allows you just to really pay close attention to your body and respond appropriately, especially if it's an uncomfortable pose or there's a little bit of pain or discomfort. Feel free to adjust. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. After the second breath, you'll just pause in this neutral tabletop posture. Your focus is directly down between the hands, so you have a neutral neck. If you are using a blanket for some padding, go ahead and crawl off the blanket and just set it to the side for now. Return to your tabletop posture, and we'll set this up for downward facing dog. And as I mentioned, I like to break things down. So we're going to set up the pose. First, step your hands forward so the hands are out from underneath the shoulders. And as you do so, spread out your fingers pretty wide so you get a stretch feeling between each finger. And then once you've got them up top, even grip the mat with your fingertips. Lean into your hands or press into the palms so they're flat on your mat. As you press, feel the arms get strong and straight here. Keep that sensation. Tuck your toes. Take another cat-cow. So inhale, back bend. That's the cow. Exhale into cat. Hold cat for a second. Tuck toes, lift the knees, and send your hips into the air, and allow your head and chest to sink between the arms. And there's your down dog. If you need to adjust your feet on your mat, you can even adjust your hands on your mat just to help you settle into the pose. Just take a couple more breaths in this first inverted posture. From here, we'll step forward. You might just take the feet up to the center of the mat or even right up to the fingertips. If you just come up to center, just slide your fingers to your toes. You'll be in forward fold. From here, inhale and slide your hands up to your shins or knees. We're going to pause here, this half forward fold. Okay, so a half forward fold where your hands are just resting on your shins or knees. Just be sure your feet feel planted into the ground, nice solid foundation. Keep a slight bend in the knees. You'll probably feel an activation in the legs here. And extend through the spine. Nice flat back like you're a table. You're going to shift your weight back into your heels so your toes feel light. You can easily tap them. Bend your knees to lower your hips like you're sitting into a low chair. Start lifting upper body. Maybe take arms out to the side or forward. Rise up, get tall, reaching into the air. Yes, inhale. And exhale, you can bring your palms together and down to your heart, or you can bring your arms down to your side, either one. Okay? I'm just going to pause there for a moment. So our first standing posture, that's a half salute. We're going to do that again. We're going to fold forward and then come right back up. Same thing. Here we go. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Yes, good stretch, good energy. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into an imaginary chair. Belly comes down towards thighs. Yes, good control. Coming down, let the arms release. Let your head and neck release. Even take a peek between your knees. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, extending through the spine. Flat back. On the exhale choice, you can stay here or slide back down to a forward fold, or just pause at any point. Holding for a moment, noticing the sensations in your body. Yes. Just a couple more breaths. After the second breath, that same weight shift back into the heels. Bend your knees to lower hips. If you need a little assist, place your hands on thighs and push into thighs to help you stand. Get nice and tall. Extend the arms all the way up. Reach, yes. Exhale, hands to heart or arms down to your side. Either one, they're both correct. Good. Just hold for a moment. Even feel free just to kind of check in with the body. Loosen things up. Check in with your feet and toes, hips, ankles. Yeah. Shoulders. At any point, take a break, get some water, whatever you need to do. Okay, back to our mountain pose. We're going to break down our sun salute. Here we go. Inhale, reaching into the sky. Exhale, swan dive, or spread your wings and sit back into the imaginary chair, bending the knees as you make your way down. Lower your hands, release the head. Inhale, slide hands up to shins or knees to a flat back. Long spine here. This exhale, slide back down. Bend the knees enough so you can place your hands or fingertips on the floor in front. We're going to take a step back, both feet to the back end of your mat. Then get the palms flat on the floor. Adjust the feet and just draw a straight line with your body. So you'll be in plank pose. Yes, feel the energy and strength in your body. We'll take a shortcut to down dog. Breathe in. In the exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air, chest and head sink between the arms. And again, just adjust the feet and adjust your hands on your mat. Hold for a moment. This is optional, but to get into our warrior, what I like to do is step left foot to center. That's the optional part. Then inhale, extend right leg up into the air. Just a nice, strong, straight line. Exhale, let's step right foot to the top of the mat. Now, if your foot doesn't quite make it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set my foot down, set the left knee down, because my foot didn't make it to the top of the mat. I'm going to pick up my right foot and actually place it up near the top of the mat, and then re-lift that back knee. Okay. And then once you're here, turn left heel to the floor behind you. Your body weight might be quite forward on the hands. You're going to shift your body weight back. I'm moving my hands back so I can get more weight into this back foot so I feel balanced on my feet. I'm still facing forward here though. That way I can get my hands easily off the ground. The strength of the leg takes over. So I can rise up. So reach forward, rise up, reach up. We'll be in warrior one. So a nice extension through the arms, nice lunge in front. Okay. Options for your arms, they can be straight up. They might be out like a V. Even feel free to bend the elbows, whatever you want to do there. Okay. So we get a nice hip flexor stretch here, nice release. We're going to inhale, re-extend the arms straight up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Bring the hands to the floor. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. I call this a runner's lunge. Press firmly into the mat with the hands so your right foot is light enough to slide back to plank pose. Now, in soft flow, I typically just take the shortcut to down dog. So bent knees, hips to sky, down dog. Now, you're very welcome to move through a full flow. From plank, you can come down to Chaturanga Dandasana, move into a back bend, and then down dog, but I'll always teach it this way. Optional step of right foot to center, then inhale, extend left leg into the air, reach. Exhale, left foot to the top of the mat. Again, if you don't quite make it, I'm just going to do it on purpose here. Right knee comes to the floor, picking up left foot, stepping it up. Relift the right knee, pivot right heel to the ground, shifting the weight back. Balance on those 2 feet so the hands are light enough so you can lift, reach forward easily, able to hinge your way up nice and tall. Reach up, lunge low. Change this arm posture if you want to. Yeah, you can even bring them down. I like that. This could be the pose here. We'll inhale, re-extend the arms up if they're bent. Exhale, fold. Hands to the floor, plant the hands, rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Strong press into the earth with the hands. So you have strong arms. Slide left foot back. Same shortcut to down dog or any flow that you'd like to do to get you to downward facing. We're going to do a little floor work here. So gently bring knees to the floor. Sit back into hero pose. Just briefly here, then off to the side. Swing the legs around to the front. Scoot forward a little bit. So you're sitting in the center of the mat. An option is to use blocks. Let me just show you real quick, because for our bridge pose, let me just show you. For bridge pose, you're welcome just to lift and hold. That's how we would typically hold bridge, just lift and hold ourselves up. For soft flow, what I like to do if you want to is take a block or two. These are kind of tall blocks though. Get them underneath you, okay? So you can actually just kind of rest here, okay? So you're welcome to use blocks for this. So go ahead and roll down onto your back. Make sure your blocks are nearby so you can easily grab them. Once you're on your back, go ahead and draw your knees into chest, just for a little forward fold sensation. You can add some movement here to massage your back. Even get some movement in your feet and ankles. Free your hands and circle the wrists. Wiggle your fingers. There you go. When you're ready for bridge, our supported bridge pose, plant the feet into the ground. When you're ready, with an exhale, lift your hips up off the ground. You can use one block or two blocks. If you use one block, you might just turn it up one notch so it's a little higher. Those two blocks certainly send you up a little higher, but it might be a bit of a challenge to get them underneath you. So do what works here, and then just sit. That way we get this nice opening through the front body without overdoing it, really. Good, a nice restful way to be in a back bend. Certainly works for our soft flow class, but even in a power class, if you just need a variation of the pose, just use blocks, or even a bolster. If you want to have something softer to sit on, you can use the bolster too. Let's take 3 more breaths. To come out of the pose, if you're sitting on the blocks, just want to push into the earth with the feet, lift your hips high enough so you can slide your props out from underneath you and slowly and gently return to the earth. Once you've landed, extend your legs out front and extend your arms behind you. And just initiate a nice stretch through the entire body. Draw both knees into chest. Now you're welcome to rock your way up to seated or roll to one side and gently press yourself up to seated. And once you're seated, let's extend the legs, straight legs, and you're welcome to use a strap for this next pose. We're going to do a forward fold with the legs straight. So you're welcome to use a strap. Let's start in staff pose, which is just keeping the legs straight, feet flexed, hands on the floor by your hips. If you need padding, just sit on a blanket maybe. Okay, hands on the floor, root or press into the floor to extend the spine, nice and tall. If you're able, let's wrap the shoulders back, opening up through the chest, nice long neck, tall torso, straight legs. So this is our staff pose. So you can feel the activation here. A couple breaths. Okay, and then you can soften. Now we are doing a forward fold. You're welcome to use the strap. You don't have to use the strap. Okay, so using the strap, of course, around the feet. You might need to wrap the strap around the hands, or free-handed, you can just fold forward, okay? So let's just get set up for us. Seated forward fold. I'm going to use the strap here. Okay. If you are using the strap, maybe a little tug of the strap will help you to sit up tall. We want to start there, yeah. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, another little tug of the strap just to draw yourself forward. Feel as if you're leading again with your chest and chin, just like we did in that cobbler's pose that we folded. Okay. Now you can use the straps. Even if you start with the strap, you can always, remove the straps. You can do this with straight legs. That might hinder you going really deep into the pose. But if you want to go a little further, bend the knees, round the spine, lower the chin, just like the cobbler's pose. Just soften up the body a little bit to allow you to go deeper without compromising the pose or harming self. Remember, we're practicing Ahimsa, nonviolence. But wherever you are, feeling the nice extension or stretch quality in the backs of the legs. If the back is rounded, stretch through the back body, yes. Using the straps as a nice prop for support, just as an option. Deep breathing. Let's add something here, just an awareness of breath. Stay where you are. If you happen to have the rounded back, take a deep breath in and try to fill up your back body. Just like when we're kind of leaning back and opening up through the chest, we're breathing in through the heart space, filling up the lungs and the front body. But here, breathing into the back body, or the back side of the lungs, if you're able. So just feel the expansion in your back, a nice broad back. 3 more breaths. Okay, if you are using a strap, just release the strap, free your hands. We'll reach forward, then with an inhale, carefully rise back up. Re-extending the spine, the arms, and if the knees were bent, maybe extend the legs. We have a nice capital L shape. And we'll go ahead and bring the hands back down and just briefly here a return to staff pose. Just a quick energizing of the body and then relax. Let's get that stretch out of the legs. Let's come back to cobbler's pose or bound angle. Just bend the knees. Feet together, hold on to the ankles, and you're welcome to do another forward fold if you want to here. Three more breaths. If you are in a forward fold in our cobbler's pose, let's do the same thing to re-extend spine. Just lift the chin, look out past the front edge of your mat. That will start to lengthen the back body, then to hinge your way back up, nice and tall. Once you're tall, keep leaning back slowly. We're going to return to boat pose. So lean back, start bringing the knees together. Heels can stay on the floor. You might need to step them forward just so you have good balance. Nice flexed feet. Hold on to the legs perhaps just to keep the spinal extension. That's the inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Core engagement. Leaning back till you find just that right spot that feels good to you for the core engagement. We're not going to be here too long though. You can even free the hands. 2 more breaths. After the second breath, coming out of the pose, maybe just rising up. Let's come back to hands and knees. So just swing the legs around to the back, hands and knees. Let's set up for down dog. Spread out the fingers, step the palms forward. Grip the mat with fingertips, lean into the palms, flatten the hands, strong straight arms, tuck your toes. Do another cow pose. Inhale, arching the back, there's our back bend. Exhale into cat pose, hold cat, then lift your knees, lift your hips, chest sinks, down dog.
Let's add another lunge sequence. Again, optional to step left foot to center, then inhale, extend right leg up. It doesn't have to lift high, just lift it and strongly straight. Exhale, let's step right foot to the top of the mat, behind the right wrist is good. If you can make it there, take your time to get there. Left heel to the earth, root, shift, find balance. Lifting the light hands, rising up, first warrior. Exhale, turning to your left, arms come down to parallel, you'll be in warrior two. Adjust the feet if you need to. Yes, there you go. So you're turning the feet in the right direction for you so you feel solid. Okay, a few more poses. Side angle pose, so reach forward out past the right knee to angle the upper half of the body, then rotate here. Right hand reaching down, left hand reaching up. Now if you have the flexibility to reach the floor, you're certainly welcome to, but remember your 60 to 70%. So that might mean, let me just back up a little bit, maybe not go all the way down. Just listening to what your body needs, what it feels like to be just less than 100% today. Just easing off. All right, you're going to come back up to warrior two. So movement through the upper body, the hips. Relax the arms for a moment so we can relax the shoulders. You're going to straighten the right leg. We're going to triangle pose. So for triangle, if the feet feel like they're too far apart, you can actually bring them a little closer together, okay? Stay nice and tall. Let's go ahead and re-extend the arms out to parallel. We'll reach out past the right leg again. Angled upper body, rotate. Reaching down, reaching up. Same thing. The hand might reach the foot or ankle, but feel free to stay up higher, up by shin or knee. Only difference really here is that we're straightening the legs so you can feel the hamstring stretch. So get into a situation where you, oh yes, I feel that lengthening of the hamstring. 2 more breaths. There you go. Okay, coming out of the pose first, bend your right knee, a nice lunge, so you have leverage to help you come back up to a warrior two. We're going to do a big windmill or cartwheel. This back hand comes up and around, face forward, come down to the floor, hands in front, rise up onto tiptoes behind you, slide right foot back, we'll be in plank pose. Pause for a moment to realign the body. Feel free to take a shortcut to down dog. Just soften the knees, hips in the air, chest sinks. And then other side, option of placing right foot to center for balance, pick up left foot, extend the left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot to the top of the mat or behind the left hand. Once landed, right heel to the earth, find your center, shift the weight back into your hands, feel light. You can easily lift, hinging from hips, rising up. Exhale, opening up to the right side of the room. Arms come down to parallel, adjusting your feet. So your knees, your ankles, your hips feel like they're in the right spot for you. Good. Side angle pose. Let's reach out past the left knee. Rotate the body. Now I'm not going down too low at all. But again, if you can reach the floor, I would just suggest go easy. Take your time. Slowly go down to the earth. So it's not too much of a surprise for the body. But you're just easing into it. Yes. Couple more breaths. We are coming back up to warrior two, so maybe just rooting or pressing that left foot into the floor to activate this front leg, activating the core, coming up sideways. Rest the arms for a moment, to get out of the shoulders. We'll straighten the left leg. If you need to, shorten the distance between the feet if you need to. Okay, ready for triangle. Re-extend the arms, reach out. There it is. Rotate. Same thing. If you can go low and deep, start high and slowly go down. Ease into it. Soft flow. There you go. To come out of the pose, we're going to start by bending the left knee so we have leverage to come back up to a warrior two right here. And our big cartwheel from back arm coming up and around and down to the floor in front. Plant the hands, rise up onto the tiptoes behind you. Slide left foot back, plank pose. Pause and plank for a quick second. take your shortcut to downward facing dog. Take 2 more breaths in down dog. You're going to bring your knees gently to the ground. And then sit back briefly in hero. And then off to the side. You're going to swing the legs around to the front again. Okay. Here you might want to use your strap. Again, just an option. What we're going to do is we're going to take the legs wider here. Okay. So you might be able to go quite wide if you can, but not necessary. Okay. So we're going to do a couple things. So we're going to do a side bend, okay, to both sides, side bending, and we're also going to do a little rotation and a fold to both legs. Okay. So we'll extend the legs. Here's how we can set up for the side bend. If you're going to use a strap, we'll go to the right foot. I'm just going to mirror you. Right foot over here. Okay. It might just even be your hand. If you can reach your toes with your fingers, that's fine there too. Okay. Here's what you can do. So I got a hold of the strap, good tug, nice and taut here. I'm going to place the elbow on the inside of my leg here for a little brace, because that's going to help me lift and extend and go out that direction. Yeah. And take my left arm out to the side. Okay. And then reach up and then overhead. Okay. So again, if you don't want to use the strap, or if you're able to release the strap, that's fine. Maybe you can just reach out, grab your foot or toe, or maybe it's not too deep of a bend. Maybe you're up a little higher. Just modify as you need to. Listen to your body. That right leg, if it needs to bend, bend it. Okay. If you need to break pose and maybe get a blanket or something like so, just to pad underneath that knee, just so it doesn't feel like it's overstretching there. Okay. 2 more breaths with our side bend. If you feel like you're turning your torso towards the ground like this, I'm exaggerating it, see if you can lift up and open up, as if you were going to turn towards the ceiling. Okay. Let's go ahead and rise back up, taking your time. Coming back up, nice and tall. Okay. We're going to continue working with this right leg. Okay. I'm going to take my right hand behind me here, just push down to lift up, getting as much space along the spine as possible, and start to rotate towards this foot. Inhale, get nice and tall, and again, you might want to use the strap here. Inhale, exhale, we're taking a fold. Moving into the posture that feels good to you, doesn't feel overstretched. Okay. But just enough where you feel like, okay, there's the stretch, I feel the lengthening, I feel the release if there's tension or tightness there. We also have a rotation going on with the body, so notice where that's showing up. And could you hold this? We're not going to hold it too long, but could you hold it for, minutes? Just continue to check in with how your body's responding to the posture. Be aware of your breathing. Is it still calm and easy and flowing like you did at the beginning of your practice? All right, 3 more breaths. After the 3rd breath, take your time. We're still facing that foot, but we're just carefully rising back up. We're still facing the right side here until you're nice and tall. Try to get even taller once you're at the top here. More extension through the spine, making space, so then we can now unwind and face forward. Okay? If you need to, okay, we can break pose. We bend the knees and bring them in, okay, and get out of that deep stretch, before we do the other side. There you go. Okay, take the time that you need with this. We're just doing the exact same thing on the other side, so whenever you're ready, just setting yourself up, using your props as you'd like. Okay. Again, if the legs can go wide, they don't necessarily have to go too wide. Maybe just bring them in a little bit. Okay, so it doesn't feel like you're overdoing it. We're going to work that left leg if you're using a strap, or you can reach the big toe. Okay. And again, what I like to do is make it taut there on the strap, elbow to the inner thigh, just gives me some leverage so I can lift upper body and extend like I'm going that direction. Just creating more space here. Right arm out to the side and then up and over for the stretch. Now I'm going to start here, but I know I'm going beyond what my body needs at the moment. So I'm going to soften this up. I'm going to come up quite a bit here. And even this hand in the air, it might even get fatigued, the shoulder. I'm just going to bring my hand behind the head. Or you can even bring it down, but because you can still do a side bend. Okay, just modify, as you need to. Yeah, and that turn, like you're opening up slightly. There it is. Be aware of the sensations in your body. What's showing up? What do you feel? 3 more breaths. If you're doing less than 3 breaths, that's perfect. That's fine. If your body feels complete, you can start to come out of the pose. When we're ready, maybe re-extending this right arm to help you come back up nice and tall. We'll pause here for a moment. Okay. I'll get a hold of the strap with my right hand. So it's taut here, left hand behind me so I can push down, lift up, create the space. Then I'm going to rotate towards the foot. Inhale, get even taller. Exhale, tug of the strap to help me fold forward. I could use both hands on the strap or no strap at all. Bend the knee if you need to. Okay, I'm going to do what I did on the other side, which felt good. I'm just going to place that folded blanket underneath the knee. Go to your personal depth, know what your 100% is, and then just soften it up slightly. Yeah. Notice if your body starts to react to being in the pose. Okay? Listen to that. You don't have to stay in that stressful moment. Okay? Soften the pose, even come out of the pose completely. Let it release, let that tension go, and if you want to, return or modify. 3 more breaths. We're still facing this foot, starting to rise back up, nice and tall. And once you are tall, get even taller, making space in the spine, and then unwind. Facing forward. Let's get rid of that strap there. Let's get the stretch out of the legs. Let's get the feet together, cobbler's pose. And if it feels good to fold, go ahead and do that. Two more breaths. And then just return to seated, meaning just rise up if you're folding forward. Just stay in your cobbler's pose for a moment. Let me just quickly demo what we're going to do next. So we are going to lie back down. Just watch. We're just going to do a leg extension. Okay? Just kind of mimicking shoulder stand, but not going into shoulder stand. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll come down, getting ready for, as if we were doing bridge pose. We'll lift the hips, slide a block. Just use one block for this. Take a seat, get it in the right spot, and then we'll extend the legs in the air. Okay, so we'll be here. If you'd like, what I like to do sometimes is, right now I'm just sitting right on top of the block It's nice support. I can get the legs up. I feel good here. What you could also do, I'm just moving the block that way, so I'm going to sit down more on the edge or closer to the edge, because what it does when I extend the legs up, it kind of propels my legs back like that. It's like a little wedge instead. And here I feel like here's a modified version of shoulder stand and then plow without having to go fully into the pose. So just some options for you here. Okay? So go ahead and lie down. Have a block nearby. Plant the feet, lift the hips, slide a block underneath you. Those options of sitting right on top for good support. Extend the legs up or more towards the edge to create a wedge. Take the legs up and just see if that kind of naturally propels the legs kind of back over your head. I think you can even do this with a bolster, which just gives you a nice softer version of this. Okay. So again, if you're in a power class and need an alternative to shoulder stand and plow, maybe use this version. Got the legs extended, activated, but let's soften them up a little bit. Maybe soften the feet, circle the ankles, maybe circle them one direction and then the other direction. Flex the feet, point, do several of those circles, flex and point. If you can, wiggle your toes, yeah. And I like to add a little bicycle pedaling. So if I was on a bicycle, but just upside down, okay, I'm just getting into the knee joints, getting into the hip joints a little bit. Just an option if you want to try this. Other leg postures. Okay, I'm just going to throw some things at you. You can even bring one leg down to the floor in front while the other leg stays in the air, kind of like you're doing the splits in a way. Okay. Okay. So doing that kind of splits, or mimicking like what we did seated on the floor with the legs wide. Okay. So taking them out to the side to get a stretch in the inner legs. So play with these various movements since we have free legs, free feet. Getting upside down for a few moments. Three more breaths. And then bend your knees, set your feet onto the floor. Pause here for a moment. Now you're welcome to stay on the block or remove the block for reclining cobbler's pose. We did the seated version. This is the lying down version. If you're seated on the block, you're bringing the legs together and then just let the knees fall open carefully out to the side. Soles of the feet touch. Sitting on the block certainly lifts you higher off the floor, which means there's more space between you and your knees. That's going to create a deeper stretch in the inner legs. That might feel great. If not, or if it feels like it's overstretched, you might want to remove the block. And what you could do, if your blocks, if both blocks are handy, you're not sitting on one, the knees don't need to touch the floor, but instead bring the blocks underneath the knees, so your knees are just resting on those blocks, and you'll feel a little bit more relaxed. Let's take 3 more breaths in this pose. When you complete with the breaths, bringing the knees together if you are on a block, lifting the hips, remove the block, and return to the earth. Then you might hug the knees into chest. Let's go for a twist. We'll start by sending the knees over to the left side towards the windows. Right arm extends out to the right side. Or any other rotation that might feel good to you at this moment. You can still use props here. Let's say that left leg doesn't completely reach the floor. Maybe place a block underneath it, or even place a block or even a bolster between your knees. And if your right arm is extended but not touching the ground, okay, then you might want to place something underneath it like a block or a pillow. We'll take 2 more breaths here, but you're certainly welcome to stay here longer. When you feel complete, no rush, just return to center. You might pause at center just to allow the spine to realign, and then carefully take knees to the other side. Use props as needed, maybe a block underneath the right knee, between you and the floor, or between the knees. And same with the left arm. If the arm is not on the floor, place a block underneath it so it's resting on something. Just finding these opportunities where you feel supported and feel relaxed. Just 2 more breaths. And again, feel free to stay here longer if you need more time here. And when you do feel complete, once again, return to center, pause for a moment, and then just guide your way into Shavasana. Now, you're certainly welcome to use props for your restorative pose. You do have that bolster if you like to use a bolster to support your body. Bring that in either for your upper body or even your lower body. Maybe you like to have the bolster underneath the knees. So just use your props in a way that feels good to you. So just a few last minutes in our practice. And as you're settling in, getting comfortable, checking in with how you're feeling. Are you still able to breathe with ease and calm, just as you did at the beginning of your practice? Return to the awareness of your breath. With this awareness, take 5 slow, deep breaths.
Each inhale, filling yourself up. Exhale to continue that sense of release, letting go. And as you're approaching your fifth breath, feel movement return to your body. Just simple, gentle movements at first. You might wiggle your toes and fingers, move your feet and hands. And let that movement travel through your body. Take your time. If you completed that round of breath, just take another round of 5 breaths, continuing to feel movement return to your body. Then slowly, carefully, gently roll to one side. If you're on a bolster, you just probably roll and just kind of slide off the bolster and just push it to the side. And then from there, press yourself up to seated. No rush. Just move slowly. And once you've eventually made your way up to seated, you might cross your legs. Feel free to sit on a prop. Your hands just resting on your knees or in your lap. Feel the lengthening in your spine, relaxed shoulders, long neck, gentle breaths. And then one last movement together. We'll inhale, extend your arms out and up. One more stretch. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Taking one more full and complete breath on your own. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.